Part 2. As the house lights dim and Felice and Claire enter hurriedly to the side of the stage outside the set, we see Felice forcibly drawing Claire back onto the set as the curtain rises. Both are panting, and there is evidence of struggle between them during the interval. He points to a bowl by the window. Felice, her wrist still firmly in his grip. What is that? What is it doing here? Claire, defiantly lifting her face to his. It's equipment for the amusement of children on hot summer afternoons. Have you forgotten how we blew soap bubbles on the back steps, those long... Felice, on the back steps. Yes. But don't remember that we ever blew soap bubbles here in the parlor. Claire, yesterday you said there's nothing to do. There's nothing at all to do. Kept saying it, wouldn't quit. All right. Here's soap bubble equipment. Look. I haven't forgotten how. She blows a bubble. Felice. Beautiful, but they break. Claire. You try. It's your turn now. Felice stares at her for a moment, then breaks into desperate laughter. What has struck you so funny? Felice. Madness has a funny side to it, Claire. And we can't turn back into children in public view. Claire. That's my line, not yours. Felice continues to laugh at the same way, then suddenly is quite sober. I haven't told you something you'll have to know. Claire, you're jumping a page. Felice stares at her blankly. Claire, solicitous. Have you dried up, Felice? She leads him to the cushions as if he were senseless. Gently pushes him. Lean back. Breathe quietly. I'll take it. From where? Slight pause. Felice. When Father gave up his equipment, his psychic readings and astrological predictions, a few days before the inexplicable accident in the house, well, he didn't give them up exactly. Felice. No, not exactly by choice. Claire. Mother had locked up his equipment. Felice. Except for this worn-out shirt of his I have on, which bears the signs of the zodiac on it, and his rising sign, and a chart of the sky as it was on the hour before daybreak of the day of his nativity here in New Bethesda. Claire. You know, he seemed to accept. At least he said nothing. Not even when she spoke of State Haven to him. Yes, I can see your mind is going again. Check yourself into State Haven for a long rest. Voluntarily, or I'll... He didn't answer these threats. He became very quiet, except when she ordered him to cut down our sacred flowers in front of the house, and said if he didn't do it, she would. Felice. Yes. Mother, Regina, made several threats of emasculation to Claire. You cut them down or I will, she continues in a different voice. Do that if you dare. Felice. And she didn't. And he, Claire, was restlessly quiet. Sat almost continually where you're sitting and stared at that threadbare rose in the carpet's center. And it seemed to smolder. Yes, that rose seemed to smolder like his eyes and yours. And when a carpet catches fire in a wooden house, the house will catch fire too. Felice, I swear that this is a house made of wood and that rose is smoldering now. And cloth and wood are two inflammable things. Your eyes make it 3. Felice. No, 4. I'm not a one-eyed cyclops, and adding your eyes makes 6. She strikes a sharp note on the piano. He glares at her furiously, but she strikes the note again, louder. Line. Claire, didn't you tell me you'd thought of something we have to do today? Felice. Yes, it's something we can't put off any longer. Claire. The letter of protest to the Felice. No letters of protest are barely even opened. No, what we must do today is go out of the house. Claire. To some particular place, or Felice? To Grossman's Market. Claire. There? Felice. Yes, there. Claire. We tried that before and turned back. Felice. We didn't have a strong enough reason, and it wasn't such a favorable afternoon. Claire. This afternoon is? Felice. Much more favorable. And I simply know that it's necessary for us to go to Grossman's Market today, since I've kept this from you, but sometimes the postman still comes through the barricade of sunflowers, and that he did some days ago with a notification that no more, Claire, deliveries? Felice. Will be delivered to the steps of, Claire. I know. Payment for Costleys has been long overdue. Costleys. Felice. So out we do have to go to Grossman's Market, directly to Mr. Grossman, and speak personally to him. Claire. What would we speak about to him if we found him? Felice. He has an office. Claire. His office. Where's his office? Probably tucked away in some never-discovered corner of that shadowy labyrinth of a... Felice. We'll ask a clerk to tell us, to take us, to... Claire. If the clerk saw us, he'd pretend that he didn't. Felice. Not if we enter with some air of assurance and importance about us, as if some unexpected, some providential thing had occurred in our... Claire. An air of importance to nature and to Grossman's? Felice. We're going to enter Grossman's Market today like a pair of... Claire. Prosperous paying customers? Felice. Yes, with excellent credit. We'll speak first to a clerk and say to him, please show us into the office of Mr. Grossman. We are going to go into his office. We are going to tell him convincingly that in spite of all spite and contrary accusations, Father's insurance policy will be paid to us on, say, the 1st of next month. Yes, on September the 1st. Claire. But we know that it won't be on the first or last day of any month of the year. Felice. We have to say that it will be. Claire. I'm not so sure that... Felice. Don't be sure. You have a resistance to all positive actions. Claire. It's I that do the little there's still to be done here. They have crossed down the stage to opposite sides of the interior sets. Face out. Claire at a fast pace. But we've been informed by the... Felice at a fast pace. Acme Insurance Company. Claire at a fast pace. Yes, they notified us that courtesy they did offer, and I'm sure that Grossman knows it. Doesn't he know everything? That the insurance money is... What's the word? Confiscated. Felice at a fast pace. Forfeited. Claire at a fast pace. Yes, the payment of the insurance policy is forfeited in the... What is the word? Felice at a fast pace. Event. Claire at a fast pace. Yes, in the event of a man... She stops, pressing her fist to her mouth. Felice at a fast pace. In the event of a man killing his wife, then himself, and... Claire. Forgetting his children. Felice. That's what's called a legal technicality. They turn to each other. Claire. What do you know about anything legal, Felice? I'm not impressed by your pose of... Felice. I know there are situations in which legal technicalities have to be disregarded in the interests of human... Claire. I'm afraid you underestim the huge inhumaneness of a company called the Acme. Why, they wrote only 3 sentences to us in reply to the 12-page appeal that we wrote and rewrote for a week. Felice. It was a mistake to appeal. We should have demanded. Claire. And you should have taken the letter to the post office instead of putting it on the mailbox for the ancient postman, or for the wind to collect it. Felice. I put a rock on the note to the postman on the letter to the... Will you stop driving me mad? The Acme wouldn't have answered with even 3 sentences if they hadn't received the 12-page appeal. And when the terrible accidents happen, details get confused. Like you got confused the accident night, ran downstairs and phoned a dead doctor, summoned him from a 10-year stay in Old Gray. Claire. Who could tell the dead from the living that night? Police. But couldn't remember our address? Told his widow to send him to the house behind the sunflowers? Yes, details do get confused. Claire. Not when publicly published. Police. Forgotten. Forgotten. Publicly. Now, will you listen to me? Claire. Your voice is coming out of your voice box clearly. Police. We must say that what we saw, there was only us to see, and what we saw was Mother with a revolver, first killing Father and then herself. And Claire. A simple lie is one thing, but the absolute opposite of the truth is another. Police. Wildly. What's the truth in pieces of metal exploding from the hand of a man driven mad by... Claire. What you suggest is that we confront Mr. Conrad Grossman, the favorite of nature, in this possible office of his. Would there be chairs in it for us to sit down in, or would we have to stand at attention facing the firing squad of his glittering bifocaled eyes? While we stammered out this fabrication which you propose that we... Felice, mockingly. We could look an inch over his eyes or an inch under his eyes and talk to him very fast, very, very, very... Claire. Together? Felice. Each of us would have to confirm the statements of the... Claire. Other. Felice. And keep smiling and saying, isn't it wonderful, to him. Claire. Isn't what wonderful to him? Felice. That Acme has at least at last conceded that... Claire. Yes. A plan. A plot. But I think this plan is something we ought to sleep on and carry out early tomorrow, not late today. Felice. Today you have on the dress I call your fair weather matching. Claire. Yes, repaired it and washed it in ivory. The blouse has worn thin. Oh, I'm afraid it's indecent. Felice. It's fetching. Claire. What did you call it? Felice. Fetching. It's very fetching. Claire. Fetching what? Oh, fetching new credit at Grossman's? Felice. And when you face Mr. Grossman, it wouldn't hurt to give him a fetching smile. Well, do we do it or forget it? Claire. Sometimes our fear is... Felice. Our private badge of... Claire. Courage. Felice. Right. The door is open. Are we going out? Pause. She backs away from him a step. Claire. See if there are people on the street. Felice. Of course there are. There are always people on streets. That's what streets are made for people on them. Claire. I meant those boys. You know, those vicious boys that... Felice. Oh, yes. You stopped on the walk and shouted, stop, to the boys. Covered your ears with your hands and shouted, stop, stop. They stopped and they crossed the street. I said, for God's sake, what did you think they were doing? Why did you shout stop at them? Claire. You heard them too. You were right beside me. Felice. I was right beside you and I heard nothing but ordinary boys talk. She rushes downstage to one side of the interior set. He goes out to the opposite end. They face out. Lightning pace, often overlapping the effect of a mass recited in a church containing a time bomb about to explode. Claire, overlapping. They were staring and grinning at me and spelling out a... Felice, overlapping. You said they were spelling out an obscene word at you. Claire, overlapping. Yes, an obscene word, the same obscene word that somebody scrawled on our back fence. Felice, overlapping. Yes, you told me that too. I looked at the back fence and nothing was scrawled on it, Claire. Claire, overlapping. If you heard nothing the last time we went out, why wouldn't you go on alone to the grocery store? Why did you run back with me to the house? Felice, overlapping. You were panicky. I was scared what you might do. Claire, overlapping. What did you think I might do? Felice, overlapping. What Father and Mother did when... Claire, overlapping. Stop here. We can't go on. Felice, overlapping. Go on. Claire. Line. Felice, overlapping. A few days ago, you... Claire. No. You. You. Not I. I can't sleep at night in a house where a revolver is hidden. Tell me where you hid it. We'll smash it. Destroy it together. Line. Felice. I took the cartridges out when I put it away. Claire. What good's that do when you know where the cartridges are? Felice. I removed them from the revolver and put them away, where I've deliberately forgotten and won't remember. Claire. Deliberately forgotten. Worthless. In a dream you'll remember. Felice, there's death in the house, and you know where it's waiting. Felice. Do you prefer locked doors of separate buildings? Claire. You've been obsessed with locked doors since your stay at State Haven. Felice. Yes, I have the advantage of having experienced once the comforts, the security, the humanizing influence of... Claire. Locked doors. Felice. At State Haven. Claire. I'm sorry, but you allowed yourself to lose contact with anything that seemed real. Felice. Seemed and real don't fit. Claire. Stopped speaking. Felice. Had nothing to speak of. Claire. Stared without recognition. Felice. With nothing to recognize. Claire. In a little house filled with familiar... Felice. Nothing can blind you more than the familiar twisted into... Claire. I was here too and saw nothing familiar twisted into... Felice. Oh, I don't think you knew where you were anymore. You... Claire. Knew enough to get out of bed in the morning instead of crouching under covers all day. Felice. Rushes to stairs and starts up them. Was that a sign of Claire? It was a sign of ability to go on with. Felice. On stairs. Customary habits. Claire. An appearance of... Felice. Beside himself from the top of stairs. Fuck appearance. Claire. Hush. You've hidden the revolver. Give it up. I'll take it down to the cellar and smash it with the wood chopper, and then be able to sleep again in this house. Felice. Descending the steps to Claire. Exhausted. Tender. People don't know sometimes what keeps them awake. He starts the tape. The pace slows from exhaustion. Claire. The need to search for... Felice. The contents of empty pockets? Claire. Not always empty. Sometimes there's a birthstone in them that isn't lucky. Pause. They stare, panting at each other. Very slowly, with lost eyes, he closes the door. Nearly. Felice. You have the face of an angel. I could no more ever, no matter how much you begged me, fire a revolver at you than any impossible, unimaginable thing. Not even to lead you outside a door that can't be closed completely without its locking itself till the end of... She turns to face him. I haven't completely closed it. It isn't finally closed. Claire, don't you know that you haven't an enemy in the world except yourself? Claire. To be your own enemy is to have against you the worst, the most relentless enemy of all. Felice. That I don't need to be told. Claire, the door's still open. Claire, with a slight, sad smile. Yes, a little. Enough to admit the talk of... Felice. Are we going out now or giving up all but one possible thing? Claire. We're going out now. There never really was any question about it, you know. Felice. Good. At last you admit it. Pause. Claire, assuming a different air. But you're not properly dressed. For this auspicious occasion, I want you to look your best. Close the door a moment. Felice. If it were closed, it might never open again. Claire. I'm just going upstairs to fetch your fair weather jacket and a tie to go with it. She turns upstage. Oh, but no stairs going off. Felice. The set's incomplete. Claire. I know. I knew. You told me. I've gone upstairs and you were alone in the parlor. She goes up the spiral stairs. Felice. Yes, I'm alone in the parlor with the front door open. I hear voices from the street. The calls and laughter of demons. Loonies. Loonies. I shut the door, remembering what I'd said. Claire. You said that it might never be opened again. She turns abruptly downstage. Oh, there you are. Felice. Yes. Of course, waiting for you. Claire. It wasn't long, was I? Felice. No, but I wondered if you would actually come back down. Claire. Here I am, and here's your jacket, and here's your tie. She holds out empty hands. Felice. The articles are invisible. Claire, with a mocking smile. Put on your invisible jacket and your invisible tie. Felice. I go through the motions of... Claire. Ah, now, what a difference. Run a comb through your hair. Felice. Where is... Claire. The inside jacket pocket. I put it there. Felice. Oh? Yes. Thanks. He makes the gesture of removing a comb from his invisible jacket. Claire. Oh, let me do it. She arranges his hair with her fingers. Felice. That's enough. That'll do. Claire. Hold still just one moment longer. Felice. No. That's enough, Claire. Claire. Yes, well, now you look like a gentleman with excellent credit at every store in the town of New Bethesda. Felice. Claire. The door is shut. Why did you shut the door? Felice. The wind was blowing dust in. Claire. There's no wind at all. Felice. There was. So I... Claire. Shut the door. Will you be able to open it again? Felice. Yes, of course. He starts the tape recorder again. Then, after a hesitant moment, he draws the door open. Claire. What are you waiting for? Felice. For you to go out? Claire. You go first. I'll follow. Felice. How do I know you would? Claire. When a thing has been settled, I don't back out. Felice. That may be, but you are going out first. Claire. Will you come out right behind me, or will you bolt the door on me? And he seizes her hand and draws her forcibly to the door. She gasps. Felice. Out. Claire. See if... Felice. There are no boys on the street. Stop this foolishness. Afternoons aren't everlasting, you know. Claire. May I set my hat straight, please? She turns to a little dusty, gilt-framed oval mirror to put the old straw hat on her head. It should have a touch of pathos, but not be ludicrous. Felice. I thought you hated that hat. Claire. I certainly don't regard it as the most stylish piece of headgear in New Bethesda, but I don't intend to make a call without a hat on my head. She removes the sprig of artificial cornflowers from the silk hatband and tries it in another position. Well, it just doesn't... Felice snatches the hat off her head and tosses it on the stairs, and thrusts her through the door. She cries out a little as if dashed in cold water. He shuts the door behind them, takes her hand, and leads her a few steps forward. Felice. Are you going to go on shaking like that? Claire. I will if you go on pushing me around. Felice. It's a... Claire. What? Felice. Nice afternoon. Claire, tensely. Yes? Felice. You couldn't ask for a nicer afternoon if afternoons could be asked for. Claire. I have no complaints about it. Slight pause. Felice. I don't know what we're waiting here for. Do you? She makes a sudden startled turn. Claire. Slingshot in the... Felice. No. Claire. Something moved in... Felice. A kangaroo. Jumped. Claire tries to laugh. We're waiting here like it was a bus stop back of the sunflowers. And it's only a block and a half from here to Grossman's Market. So let's get a move on. Slingshots, kangaroos, or anything you can dream of. The sooner we get started, the sooner we'll return with credit established again and livables and necessities of persistence. 3 bags full, including cigarettes. Claire. We mustn't seem too greedy all at once. Felice. Once we've assured Mr. Grossman that Acme will pay, there'll be no limit. Claire. You couldn't ask for a nicer afternoon, but I think my suggestion was better. Felice. What was your suggestion? Claire. That you go to Grossman's Market and talk to Mr. Grossman. Felice. Alone? Without you? Claire. Yes, without me. I don't know why, but I'm shaking. I can't control it. It would make a bad impression on Mr. Grossman. Felice. You're not going to back out now. I won't allow you. Claire. Felice, while you're gone, I could make a phone call to Citizens Relief. You know, those people we wouldn't let in the house. I could tell them to come right over and answer all their questions, and we would receive their relief even if Mr. Grossman doesn't believe the story. Felice. Claire, quit stalling. Let's go now. Claire. I left something in the house. Felice. What? Claire. I left my Felice. You see, you don't know what you left, so it can't be important. Claire. Oh, it is. It's the cotton I put in my nose when I have a nosebleed, and I feel like I might have one almost any minute. The lime dust. She turns quickly to the door, but he blocks her, stretching his arms across the doorway. She utters a soft cry and runs around to the window. He reaches the window before she can climb in. Felice, you're not going to climb in that window. Claire, I am. Let me. I have to. I have a pain in my heart. Felice, don't make me drag you by force to Grossman's Market. Claire, the moment I get back in, I'll call the people from Citizens Relief. Felice, liar. Liar and coward. Claire, oh, Felice, She runs back to the door. He remains by the window. She enters the interior set and stares out at him, hands clasped tightly together. He steps over the low window sill, and they face each other silently for a moment. Felice, if we're not able to walk 1.5 blocks to Grossman's Market, we're not able to live in this house or anywhere else but in 2 separate closed wards at State Haven. So now listen to me, Claire. Either you come back out and go through the program at Grossman's, or I will leave here and never come back again, and you'll stay on here alone. Claire. You know what I'd do if I was left here alone? Felice. Yes. I know what she'd do. So I seize her arm and shout into her face, out again, the front door. I try to drag her to it. Claire. I catch hold of something. Cling to it. Cling to it for dear life. Felice. Cling to it. Claire. It's not on the set. The newel post of the stairs. I wrap both my arms about it, and he can't tear me loose. Felice. Stay here. Stay here alone. When I go out of this house, I'll never come back. I'll go and go. Away, away. Claire. I'll wait. Felice. For what? Claire. For you. Felice. That will be a long wait. A longer wait than you imagine. I'm leaving you now. Goodbye. He steps out over the low sill of the window. Claire calling out after him. Don't stay long. Hurry back. Felice. Ha. He comes forward and speaks pantingly to the audience. The audience is supposed to imagine that the front of the house, where I'm standing now, is shielded by sunflowers too. But that was impractical, as it would cut off the view. I stand here, move not a step further, impossible without her. No, I can't leave her alone. I feel so exposed, so cold. And behind me I feel the house. It seems to be breathing a faint, warm breath on my back. I feel it the way you feel a loved person standing close behind you. Yes, I'm already defeated. The house is so old, so faded, so warm that, yes, it seems to be breathing. It seems to be whispering to me, you can't go away. Give up. Come in and stay. Such a gentle command. What do I do? Naturally, I obey. He turns and enters by the door. I come back into the house very quietly. I don't look at my sister. Claire, we're ashamed to look at each other. We're ashamed of having retreated, surrendered so quickly. Felice. There is a pause, a silence, our eyes avoiding each other's. Claire, guiltily. Felice. No rock hits the house. No insults and obscenities are shouted. Claire. The afternoon light. Felice. Yes, the afternoon light is unbelievably golden on Claire. The furniture, which is so much older than we are. Felice. I realize now that the house has turned into a prison. Claire. I know it's a prison too, but it's one that isn't strange to us. For the first time since he re-entered the house, they looked directly at each other, slowly with difficulty. Felice. I don't lift my arms, not willingly. They are lifted, and they extend as if they weren't a part of me. I don't know what I feel except a sense of danger and longing. Claire. I have no breath. She takes several faltering steps toward him, then rushes into his extended arms. There is a convulsive embrace, like two lovers meeting after a long separation. Her lips are whispering against his face, inaudible words. Felice. Not possible. The stairs don't go upstairs. The steps. Stop in space. Claire. There's nothing then, but very gently he thrusts her away from him. Her eyes turn away from him too. Felice. A garden enclosed is my sister. Claire. What did I do with the card from Citizens Relief? Felice. You put it under, Claire. Oh, grandmother's wedding picture. She lifts the picture and looks at it yearningly for a moment. A coronet of pearls. A hand lifting the veil from her radiant face. Felice. Claire, we've seen that picture all our lives. It's the card under the picture you picked the picture up for. Claire. To get the office number. Felice, of Citizens Relief. It might close early, you know. Claire. I'm going to call them at once. Felice. Make it just a simple, dignified appeal for necessary assistance. Claire. Simple. Dignified. Yes. She has crossed to the phone, but her hand stops short of the receiver. He picks it up and thrusts it into her hand. She lifts it to her ear. It makes no sound. I feel like screaming, help, help. Felice. Is it? Claire, hanging up the receiver. Sometimes the phone will go dead temporarily, just for a little while, and come back to life, you know. Felice. Yes, I know. Of course. Claire. So we stay here and wait till it's connected again? Felice. We might have to wait until after the relief office closes. It might be a better idea to ask the people next door if we can use their phone, since something's gone wrong with ours. Claire. That's right. Why don't you do that? Felice. You do that. It's the sort of thing you could do better. Look. He points at window. The woman next door is taking some clothes off her wash line. Call her through the window. Claire catches her breath, then rushes to the window and calls out in a stifled voice. Claire. Please, may we? Felice, not loud enough. Call louder. Claire, turning from the window. Did you really imagine that I could call and beg for citizens relief in front of those malicious people next door? On their phone in their presence? Why, they gave their son a slingshot to stone the house. Whenever they catch a glimpse of us through a window, they grin like death. Slight pause. Felice, you asked me what people did when they had nothing at all left to do. Claire, I asked you no such thing. After a moment, she dips a spool in the soapy water. Felice, instead of calling the woman next door through the parlor window, you blow soap bubbles through it. Did you blow the soap bubbles out the window as an appeal to the world? They are lovely as your birthstone. They rise through the fading afternoon light, but they are a sign of surrender, and we know it. And now I touch her hand lightly, which is a signal that I am about to speak a new line in the two-character play. He touches her hand. Claire, didn't you tell me yesterday or last night or today you came across a box of cartridges for Father's revolver? Claire. No, Felice. Claire, you say yes, not no. And then I pick up the property of the play, which she's always hated and dreaded, so much that she refuses to remember that it exists in the play. Claire, I've said it's unnecessary. Felice has picked up a revolver from under the sheet music on the piano top. Has it always been there? Felice, the revolver and the box of cartridges that you found last night have never been anywhere else, not in any performance of the play. Now I remove the blank cartridges and insert the real ones as calmly as if I were removing dead flowers from a vase and putting in fresh ones. Yes, as calmly as... But his fingers are shaking so that the revolver falls to the floor. Claire gasps, then laughs breathlessly. Stop it! Claire covers her mouth with her hands. Now He pauses. Claire, have you forgotten what you do next? Too bad. I don't remember. Felice, I haven't forgotten what I do next. I put the revolver in the center of the little table across which we had discussed the attitude of nature toward its creatures that are regarded as unnatural creatures. And then after placing the revolver on the table, he pauses. Claire, what do you do next? Felice, yes. I put on the tape and then I pick up my spool and dip it in the water and blow a soap bubble out of the parlor window without the slightest concern about what the neighbors may think. Of course, sometimes the soap bubble bursts before it rises. But this time, please imagine you see it rising through gold light above the gold sunflower heads. Now I turn to my sister, who has the face of an angel, and say to her, Look, do you see? He mimes the action of blowing soap bubbles. Claire, yes, I do. It's lovely, and you made it, and it still hasn't broken. Felice, sometimes we do still see the same things at the same time. Claire, yes, and we would till locked in separate buildings and marched out at different hours. You by bullet-eyed guards and me by bullet-eyed matrons. She strikes a note on the piano. Oh, what a long, long way we've traveled together. Too long now for separation. Yes, all the way back to sunflowers and soap bubbles. And there's no turning back on the road, even if the road's backward and backward. The tape machine misses and plays the music at triple tempo, which rises to a sound like a kind of shriek. Claire removes her white cotton gloves, glances at her brother's tranced face. He stares past her blindly. She draws a breath, then crosses to the machine and stops its playing. A couple of beats, silence. Well, that's that. She crosses to pick up her cloak. Put on your coat, Felice. I'm putting on mine, and I'll remove this bewitching bit of millinery from my corn silk head now. She takes off her hat, fiercely snatching the sprig of cornflowers from its band and tossing it to the floor. Felice, blankly. What? Claire. Felice, come out of the play. The house is completely empty. Felice. Walked? Out? All? Claire. Yes. Yes, were you unconscious? One stood up down from with a grunt, and the others all followed suit and shuffled out, en masse. And I'm glad the torture is over. Felice. It wasn't your play. She brings him his coat. Claire. No, but you wrote it for me. Have I expressed my appreciation enough? She throws his coat about him and tries to button it. Felice. Don't. Don't put things on me I can put on myself. This is not State Haven. Claire. Only 3 smokables left. So, they've broken our rice bowl. Smoke? She hands him a cigarette. He looks out blindly. Here. And now call Fox. See if there's cash enough to get us out of this place to somewhere further south of the Arctic Circle. There is a pause. Felice is afraid to call Fox, who may be gone. Well, for God's sake, call him. Felice calling into the house. Fox? Fox? Claire. Faithful Fox is silent as the proverbial Felice. Fox? Claire. Fox, Fox, Fox. Together. Fox! There is an echo from their call. Claire. I'll tell you an unpleasant thought that's entered my head. Fox has absconded with the box office receipts. Felice. Well, we'll track him down. Claire. I don't feel like fox hunting. Felice. Then what do you feel like? Claire. Lying down on the cushions. Like falling into bed at the nearest hotel and sleeping the next 1,000 years. Felice. Well, go get your things. Claire. Get what things? Felice. Your purse, your handbag, for instance. Claire. I haven't got one to get. Felice. You lost it again? Claire. I told you days ago that my bag had disappeared and it hasn't returned. What have you got in your wallet? Felice. Phone numbers and addresses of people, mostly forgotten. Claire. Did we start with no money or just arrive here with no money? Felice. Things have kept disappearing. Isn't that how it was? Claire. Don't ask me how anything was or is or will be. Felice. When you make remarks of that kind, other people take them literally. Claire. This still seems like a performance of the 2-character play. The worst thing that's disappeared in our lives, I'll tell you what it is. Not the company, not Fox, not brandy in your flask, not successes that give confidence to go on. No, none of that. The worst thing that's disappeared in our lives is being aware of what's going on in our lives. We don't dare talk about. It's like a secret that we're conspiring to keep from each other, even though each of us knows that the other one knows it. She strikes the piano key. Felice, about the play, the 2-character play. I wonder sometimes if it isn't a little too personal, too special for most audiences. Maybe, Felice, what do you mean by too special? Claire, too personal, that's all. Such as using our own names in it, and Felice. At the first reading of it, you made a hypocritical remark. You said, why, It's like new wine. It has to be properly aged, so don't let's include it in this season's repertory. Claire. I said no such thing, but I can tell you who did. It was poor old Gwendolyn Forbes that said that, and that's not all she said. She also said the two-character play is a tour de force. It's more like an exercise in performance by two-star performers than like a play, a real play. Felice. There was never anyone by that name. What name did you say? In the company? Claire. Felice, there was hardly a soul in the company whose name you could remember. The person I'm talking about is the one that burned to death in that hotel fire in wherever it was, in some place. Felice. Oh, her. She had a passion for incineration. Burned to death in a hotel fire and then had herself cremated. Claire. People burn to death and don't have themselves cremated. We're both too tired to make sense. Call a limousine to pick us up and take us to a hotel. Felice sits on the piano stool. Felice, you're as tired as I am. Help me get up. My legs are gone. He rises to help her but topples onto the cushions. Thank you. Will we ever get up? We're sitting here panting for breath like a couple of dogs. Last cigarette, unless you have some. Felice. No. He lights her cigarette. Claire. We'll share it. Felice, is it possible that the two-character play never had an ending? She passes the cigarette to him. Felice. Even if we were what the company called us in the telegram, we'd never attempt to perform a play that had no end to it, Claire. Claire. Then tell me how it ends. Because I honestly can't remember a bit of it past the point where we stopped tonight. Felice. The two-character play doesn't have a conventional ending. Claire. I don't mind that. That's fine. But what's the unconventional ending? Or can't you remember any better than I can? He hands her the cigarette. It never seems to end, but just to stop. And it always seems to stop just short of something of a disturbing nature when you say, the performance is over. Felice. It's possible for a play to have no ending in the usual sense of an ending, in order to make a point about nothing really ending. Claire. I didn't know you believed in the everlasting. Felice. That's not what I meant at all. Claire. I don't think you know what you meant. Things do end. They actually have to. Felice. Well, rising. Up. Hotel. Grand entrance. We'll face everything tomorrow. Claire. Just before the performance, you told me that Fox the Foxy hasn't made us hotel reservations here, wherever he is. Wherever here is. Felice. The one hotel in town is directly across the street from the theater, and we'll enter in such grand style that we'll need no reservations. He crosses hurriedly into the wings, and she starts to follow. But her exhaustion stops her at the upstage edge of the platform facing the statue. Claire, to the statue. Unalterable. Circumstance. Unaltered. Offstage, frantic sounds begin to be heard. Running footsteps. Fists pounding and feet kicking at metal. Muffled cries faintly echoed. This should continue at a varying pitch during Claire's solitary presence on the stage and should sometimes catch her attention. She slowly turns about to face downstage in a spot of light. Well, he lost his argument about the impossible being necessary tonight. I think the impossible and the necessary pass each other on streets without recognition. Could sit side by side without a sign of the slightest acquaintance before or now or ever. Metallic crash. Offstage. Felice! Well, it wasn't always all lost. There were nights of triumph, ovations, times of public honor. Memorable celebrations. Crossing the Tiber in an open carriage over that bridge of stone angels. When suddenly a hailstorm stung our faces and hands with little flowers of ice that made us sing and sing. She sings a snatch of Comme des Roses or Dicentincello Voi. Stops hearing distant shouts. Police? Oh, and that night in the wine garden on the Danube, the lights of a riverboat, Russian soldiers singing in a chorus. She sings a verse of a Russian gypsy song. Coachman, don't whip the horses. I have nowhere to hurry to. I have no one to love. Words in Russian. More pounding and shouting, muted. Felice, your sister and you, insane. And so? Do you always go into a trance before a performance? Yes, and after one too. Long dead now. Many gone. Felice? Felice? When he finds that I am not following him as I've done all my life, he won't be coming back here with glad tidings, or a corsage of violets to pin on my... She touches the lapel of her coat as Felice returns. He seems not to see her at first. He's breathless and stunned. Well, have we met with some new, unalterable circumstance now? He collapses among the cushions. Yes, I can see there's been another disaster. Let's put the props back into the old prop basket while we prepare. She gathers up all but one cushion on which he has fallen and throws them into the battered wicker basket. Aren't you going to speak to me? Ever? Again? Felice. Claire, I'm afraid we may have to stay here a while. Claire. In this frozen country? Felice. I meant here in the theater. Claire. Oh! Felice. Yes. You see, the front and back doors are locked from the outside, and as you know, this building is windowless as a casket. Claire. Does this mean we have to stay here freezing till they open the door, or open the building in the morning? Felice. Claire, there's no guarantee they'll open up the building in the morning, or even in the evening, or any morning, or even after that. Claire. Out. 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 Crazed with panic, she whirls about and snatches up the play phone. She realizes what it is and drops it as if it had scorched her hand. Felice. Hysteria won't help, Claire. Claire. The backstage phone. Felice. Disconnected as the phone in the play was. Claire. I think that this is some sort of dramatic metaphor that you are trying to catch me in, but I refuse to be caught. Felice. Even if it were possible to, would I want to? Claire. Obviously you accept this. It was your play and this is the end you want. Felice. Claire, I want no end. But, Claire, but? Felice. There seems to be no choice but, Claire, to march between the chaplain and warden conducting us to the execution chamber without resistance? Felice. The sentence was passed such a long time ago that the dread of execution is worn out. Fear does have a limit. Contrary to my opening monologue, even fear has a limit. Claire, tonelessly. Monologue. Opening. Felice, with a passion of something. Self-derision. Despair, but with a passion. I'd started a new play. I would have been too tired to finish it, though. Claire, again abstracted. Oh. Felice, with the same bitter force. Just this evening, before you entered, I composed the opening monologue of a play that's closed, unopened. He throws his head back in a silent, self-mocking laugh. Make sure it's not self-pity. You could put it this way. Fear is limited by the ability of a person to care anymore. Claire. For anything, but... She clasps his head against her. A hollow metallic sound is heard. I hear. Felice. This empty vault is full of echoes and echoes and echoes. The heat has been turned off and metal contracts with cold. Claire. That's a lovely elegiac note in your voice. Are you paralyzed there? Yes, you, but not me. I'm not paralyzed. I'm going to find the way out. She makes aborted moves in several directions, terrified of the dark that sounds the dimming area of the stage. At each rush stops short with sharply arrested gestures. Human outcry. Felice. Give it up, Claire. Give it up. It's useless. There are punctuation marks in life, and it's time to admit that they include periods, one of which is final. Claire. Who do you think you're addressing? You're talking to your insanely practical sister, not to violet-haired drama club ladies digesting vol en vent and péché melba. Please, it's cold. It's not like the cold anywhere on the planet Earth. It's like the cold at the further the go no more last edge of space. So it's a prison, this last theater of yours. Felice. Yes, it would seem to be one. Claire. I've always suspected that theaters are prisons for players. The sound of distant explosions. Listen. Gunfire. Bombardment. Felice. Or holiday firecrackers blocks away. The sound of distant gunfire. Claire, you're not frightened, are you? Claire. I'm too tired to be frightened. At least not yet. That's strange, you know, because I've always had such a dread of being locked up, caught, confined in a place. It's the greatest dread of my life. No, what I feel right now is bone tired and bone cold. Otherwise, I'd get up and see for myself if these awful mysteries you've reported to me are exactly as you've reported. Felice, do you think I've just imagined them, dreamed them, Claire? He goes out the door of the interior set. Claire becomes panicky. Claire. Felice, where are you going? Felice. To get the telegram from the company. He returns with it and smooths it out on the table. He looks at it as if he had just received it. Claire. You have a dark thought in your head, and I think I know what it is. Felice. Sometimes we have the same thoughts at the same time. Claire. It's getting colder and colder moment by moment. Felice. During the performance, Claire. Yes, such as it was or wasn't. Felice. It was cold even with the lights on us, but I was so lost in the play that it seemed warm as summer. Claire. You're suggesting that, Felice, we must go back into the play. Claire. But with the stage so dim, Felice, if we can imagine summer, we can imagine more light. Claire. When we're lost in the play. Felice. Yes, completely lost in the two-character play. Claire. We could try it. We could give it a try. Felice. Other alternatives lacking. Claire. Could we keep on our coats? Felice. Oh, we could, I suppose, but I think the feeling of summer with sunflowers and soap bubbles would come more easily to us if we took our coats off. Claire. All right. Do we stop where we stopped tonight, or do we look for the ending? Felice. Don't worry about the ending. It'll come to us, Claire. I think you'll find wherever you hid it. Claire. Wherever you hid it, not me. She catches her breath suddenly and raises a hand to her mouth. Felice. Is something wrong? Claire. No. He helps her remove her coat. As he removes his, she hugs her shoulders against the cold. He takes the revolver off the table. Felice. The properties of the play are the properties of our lives. Where would you like me to hide it? Claire. Under a sofa pillow? Felice. Yeah, I guess that'll do. He places the revolver under the pillow. Claire starts the tape. Claire. And we'll find the end of the play? Felice. By the time we come to the end, we'll be so lost in the play that... Claire. The end will simply happen. Felice. Yes, just happen. Claire. Where shall we start? At the top of the play, the phone bit? Felice. Yes. Take your place by the phone. The performance commences. Claire. When a performance works out inevitably, it works out well. She lifts the telephone. Felice. Who are you calling, Claire? Claire. Not a soul existing in the world gone away. Felice. Very fast. Then why did you pick up the phone? Claire. To see if it's still connected. Felice. We would have been notified if... Claire. It's a mistake to depend on notification, especially when a house looks vacant at night. She hangs up the phone. Felice. Night. What a restless night. Claire. Wasn't it, though? Felice. I didn't sleep at all well, and neither did you. I heard you wandering about the house as if you were looking for something. Claire. Yes, I was, and I found it. She pauses. Are you lost in the play? Felice. Yes. It's a warm August day. Claire, raising a hand tenderly to his head. I'm sure Acme and Mr. Grossman will believe our story. We can believe it ourselves. And then livables and necessities of persistence will be delivered through the barricade of... Felice. Go straight to the tall sunflowers. Claire. Quick as that? Felice. That quick. Claire. Felice, look out the window. There's a giant sunflower out there that's grown as tall as the house. He draws a long breath, then leans out the window. Felice. Oh yes, I see it. Its color is so brilliant that it seems to be shouting. Claire. Keep your eyes on it a minute. It's a sight to be seen. She crosses to the sofa, lifts the pillow beneath which the revolver is concealed, gasps and drops the pillow back, looks toward Felice. Felice, hurry, it won't hold. She crosses to him and touches his hand. Claire. Magic is a habit. They look slowly up at the sunflower projections. Felice. Magic is the habit of our existence. The lights fade, and they accept its fading as a death somehow transcended. Curtain.